In this grade 12 English video, we are going to be looking at the term 3 study plan. We are going to go through paper 1, paper 2 and paper 3, and we are going to cover both English home language as well as English first additional language. The purpose of this video is basically to help you revise. This is a revision video because, as you know, in term 3 you are more than likely, or you have to have finished the syllabus. By finishing the syllabus, we mean that you would have covered all the content for English, including your literature material, meaning that you read all your books, you read all your poetry, and you are basically left to do a revision. But before we get into doing that revision, I want to let you know that for all the subjects that you are seeing on the screen before you right now, we are going to be having virtual classes to help you with your last minute preparation before you write each paper. All you have to do to join us for those classes is shoot me an email. So the way we do a revision, we are going to be looking at paper 1, paper 2 and paper 3. We know that these papers are not necessarily written in chronological order, but when you prepare, it's easier if you have a system. If you have your timetable already out, I would advise that you start with the paper that you are going to write first and go in that order. But when it comes to paper 1, for both English home language and English first additional language, there are only 5 things that you need to make sure that you are comfortable with before you can say that you are ready for the exam. So those are the things that you need to make sure that you are revising. So the first thing you're going to revise is how to answer comprehension. Now, comprehension question is going to differ per paper, so there is no way of like trying to cram what's going to come up. So what you are doing with this is you are practicing how to answer and what the examiner is looking for, how to understand what the question is asking and answer it according to what the examiner is asking you. Right? So that you can only master through practice. It's going to be a thing of practice. There's no way where we can tell you that this is the comprehension that's going to come up, so you just have to cram the answers. That's not what this is. The only way to master comprehension is through practice. Find as many comprehension questions and try to answer them. And this is one of those questions that a lot of students tend to skip when they are doing question papers, but it's actually an error. You are actually doing yourself a disservice if you are not learning how to answer comprehension questions properly. The second thing that we get into is interpreting a cartoon. Now, with cartoon questions, I will say to you, the problem is not the question, the problem is how the learner will interpret the cartoon. Meaning, do you even understand what the cartoon is talking about in the first place? For home language, your cartoon will more than likely be related to your comprehension. If you cannot even see how the two are related, then you have a bigger problem. Then you are also going to have a cartoon that is a standalone cartoon, and that one is even more lengthier. So at the end of the day, it boils down to, do you understand the cartoon? Do you understand the humor? Do you understand the body language? Do you know how to talk about emotions, expressions? Those are the things that you should make sure that you are practicing in this time. Then we get to how to properly summarize. I have done shorts, I have done revision videos, I have done exemplar videos on the proper way to summarize a question. If you don't know how, please make sure that you go study those and learn the correct way to do a summary properly. Then we get to analyzing an advert, which is similar to interpreting a cartoon, so you need to know the language. Then we get to editing skills. With paper 2, we are going to look at first additional language first, and then after that we will look at the home language learner. So if you're doing first additional language, this portion of the video is for you when it comes to paper 2. With paper 2, you know that we are dealing with literature. So for first additional language, all you have to do is master 2 of the following. Either they have given you a novel, a drama, short stories, or poetry. Out of all of these 4 things, all you have to do is pick the 2 that you want to focus on. They are going to make section A, section B, section C, and section D in your paper 2 exam. And all the paper 2 is going to ask you to do is answer only 2 of those 4 sections. So section A is a novel, section B is a drama, section C is short stories, and section D is poetry. You just have to choose 2 sections, and in those 2 sections you're going to answer the questions that fall under that section. It becomes tricky for me to make a recommendation for you here because it all depends on the resources that your school has. So most of you, your school would have made that choice for you, so they would have given you maybe a novel and short stories, but you don't have a drama book, you don't have poetry. So in a way, that's your teacher saying to you that focus on a novel and focus on short stories, and when you get to the exam, those are the things that you do. My recommendation will then be follow what the teacher has directed you to do. The reason for that, the reason why that is smart is because more than likely you have done that piece of literature with your teacher in class. So that helps with the familiarity of it, and it also helps with different perspectives. It is, if it's a novel, more than likely, if you have that kind of teacher, he's had you guys reading it in class, so you read it in your own time, you've read it with other learners in class, it has been read to you by your teacher. More than likely you've had homeworks written on it with corrections, classwork with corrections, assignments with corrections, and additionally you could have also written some short tests on it. So working with the piece of literature that your teacher has given you is actually smart, because it means that you're not starting from ground zero. The only recommendation that I have, that I know that a lot of students struggle with, is finishing those books. If they have given you a novel and you haven't finished it by this time in the year, make sure that you use just take out a week and make sure that that week is not going to end before you finish reading all of your books. If you have short stories, if you have poetry, make sure that you cover all of them, because you may never know which one will come out. Now, shifting gears to home language learners. With home language, unfortunately, you don't get the luxury of choosing between your pieces of literature. You are given 3 pieces of literature and you literally have to study all of them. The first one being poetry, which is going to come up in your section A of your paper 2. Then in section B, you're going to have a novel, and in section C, you're going to have a drama. In home language, you do not have short stories, so you don't have that to worry about. All you have to worry about is your poetry, your novel, and your drama. Make sure that you also are taking out a week if you haven't finished your pieces of literature. If you haven't finished any of them, make sure that you take out a week. It could be the upcoming week. Tell yourself that in the next coming week, when it ends, every single poem that you have been given, you would have studied it, you would have answered the questions, and you will know it like the back of your hand, meaning that you know what the message is, you know what the poet was trying to say, you know all the figures of speech that appear in it. Your novel, when it comes to your novel, you have read the book from beginning to end and you understand it. You understand the characters. You remember who are the characters in it and what the whole message of the book is. Similar thing applies to your drama book. Make sure that you know all of them. I would say take only a week, because if it is said, if you give yourself a whole day to do something, then it's going to take a whole day. But if you give yourself 2 hours to do something, then it takes only 2 hours. Don't give yourself a month to finish the books. Give yourself only a week, and then you will finish all of the books, including the poetry. And then additionally to that, learn how to answer the essay questions when it comes to the drama and the novel book. Go and find the essay questions for drama and novel and practice how to answer them properly for high marks. With paper 3, before we even get into the content of what goes into paper 3, my recommendation to you is that you learn time management. There is a lot of writing that goes in paper 3. There is a lot of planning that has to go with the writing that you have to do in paper 3. All of it takes a lot of time. All of it requires just a lot out of you. So what you need to do, the first thing that you need to do is, not only are you going to practice how to write an essay, but you are going to practice writing that essay within a limited time. Practice how to write within a limited time. If you don't do that, you're going to have problems. No one ever complains about paper 3 being difficult or challenging, other than the fact that it is a lot to write and they probably didn't finish. So because you already know what you are writing anyway, if you come to my session, you know what you are writing in your paper 3 and you go in prepared. The only issue becomes, can you manage your time? So make sure that you are practicing time management, and that time management is one of the tricks that we will teach when it comes to those last minute exam prep virtual classes. So make sure that you are emailing me to book yourself a session. Every class will be held a day before each paper. So the day before you are writing your paper 3, just know that the day before we will be holding a virtual class. Just email me for details so that you do not miss out on that, and I will also send you a reminder for that if you are interested in joining us. But yeah, the first thing is make sure that you are on top of your time management. Then get into essay writing. Essay writing doesn't just comprise of just writing the essay. It also requires planning, so you need to know how to do that planning, the proper way to do those planning. So make sure that you are practicing such things, that you're going to write a first draft. How do you cancel it out to indicate that this is a first draft? How do you do a mind map for poems? Those are the important things. And then for transactional texts, study the formats. I'm still going to do a detailed scope where I'm going to outline which of them to prioritize when it comes to home language as well as first additional language. To have YouTube recommend you more of my videos, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.